Welcome to the TheLanCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
I am vengeance.
Yeah. So, did you watch?
I watched it. I finished it last night. Took me 3 settings to finish the 3-hour movie, about an hour a piece. I was like, because my wife didn't have any interest, so like I'm watching it around like 10 o'clock at night, right? So around 11, you start to get a little snoozy.
Yeah.
So it took me 3 watch. Pretty good. Pretty good. I think the villains were honestly the star of the show. I don't think Pattinson did a bad job at all. I think that he's a solid Batman. I don't think they wrote him a Bruce Wayne worth being, so I don't really think his Bruce Wayne matters that much. But the Batmaning was solid, but the villains, like top tier acting, all of them.
Yeah.
I won't spoil one that's in there that isn't seen in previews.
Mm-hmm.
That dude sounds like he's gonna be like, he's definitely got a voice for it.
Yep.
Penguin, like, who knew that he
People
had those kind of chops? Like, who knew that he had those kind of chops? To be honest with you, it's what's his name?
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, honestly, I've never thought much of Colin Farrell as an actor. I've always thought he was kind of eh. Yeah. And so seeing that, like, you couldn't tell it was him. He had a totally different voice for it. The dude whose name I always forget that played Riddler,
Paul
also
Dano.
really menacing. I did think they made Batman a little dumb, but he said he'd only been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I guess that you can forgive him for that. But there was points where there's a line that Penguin says, and you probably know the line, but they're questioning Penguin, and he uses the line, and you're like, yep, that's about how I'm feeling right now. But solid movie. I think it was. I do think it was a little too long. I did not expect to like Catwoman, and she did well. Yeah. I don't know her name either.
That's Zoe Kravitz.
Did not expect that either, and she surprised me, so that was nice. I didn't really like her. It's not that she didn't like. I think I'm just too used to Michelle Pfeiffer in terms of long hair versus short hair. Selena Kyle, and so that there was a look aspect to it, but she definitely won me over as well. Just a couple of her lines in there were just very Catwoman, and so I avoided any real spoiler for a month and a half, and I am down for movies to keep doing that. I saw a trailer just a second ago for Top Gun. That thing better be on streaming instantly. They've been sitting on that movie for so long.
Yeah.
There's
almost
no
2
way.
years. Yeah.
There's no way that it doesn't come to Paramount Plus or something
I hope
immediately. Because I'm not going to see that in movie theaters. The next movie that I do want to see, you saw this Thor trailer, right?
Yes, I should have queued it up.
I want to see Doctor Strange also. Don't get me wrong, because I really want to see what they do with Wanda. But I saw Lady Thor and my girl Natalie Portman holding the hammer, and I was like,
I knew. Okay, so obviously, unlike my boy Frank and some other people that I know do not watch trailers. Kevin does this too. He's like, I don't, if it's something I want to watch, I'm not going to watch the trailer. So I knew, obviously Natalie Portman was gonna be, in that role. But the short clip, I almost didn't recognize her in the role. Yeah, apparently Jack, which is funny to me because she has a small frame, so it's going to be hard to put.
She's a very small person.
Yeah, but I will say, regarding Batman, first of all, HBO Max putting this stuff out 45 days after is exactly what you want. Batman, by the way, racked up over 700 million domestic, if I'm not mistaken. So it's fine. 700. I want to say it's domestic. It may be worldwide. It doesn't matter. They made their money in the 45 days. Now they've got it on streaming. You're going to have the subscribers for that. You're going to have the people who buy physical media that buy physical media. I'm going to be buying this on 4K. I did not like the villain you were referring to. By the way, we're not going to spoil anything here. I didn't like that at first. it took me a bit because it took me a bit for various reasons. But honestly, I feel like we didn't need what we had there. Like you could remove it. And there's another scene that
Did
he
you
was
watch the
in that was
deleted scene?
removed. Yes.
The deleted
And
scene is good, but I'm glad that they didn't put it in the movie because it would have ruined the
yes,
whole like reveal and stuff. Like
yeah,
it would have ruined a whole, not like reveal of that character, but it would have
no,
ruined the plot if
yeah.
they would have put
Well,
that in there.
yeah.
But I
Batman had
thought that
been
that
like,
deleted scene was
yeah.
a good scene.
Oh, that's what changed my mind. That is what changed my mind because I watched the movie and I was like, you know what? I was fine with everything, and then you did this and I didn't like it. Knowing now that it wasn't a reshoot, that was part of another, two-parter, if you will. You mentioning Batman's only been at it for 2 years. Watching Alfred, like, kind of showing him, like, he comes up to the kitchen table and Alfred's like, oh, well, if you do this and you do this, he's like, huh. Like, Alfred's still kind of teaching him stuff, which I thought was cool because that's, part of Alfred's role, as opposed to old man Alfred, who you don't really see him doing a lot, but it's implied that he taught him. Now we're seeing, like, he's still teaching him stuff. So I liked a lot of it, and you're spot on. If they kept that scene in there, he's in his own way giving Batman so much information that if Batman was in any way, near shape or form, like, intelligent, he would go, "Oh, I figured it out."
Yeah.
So I'm glad that wasn't in there. But
Yeah, because 2 year in Batman, not the smartest Batman, but I liked the angle. If they do another movie like this, I hope they keep that angle. Like a couple of very solid action scenes, but the fact that that's not what it was about. The fact that we saw a lot of Batman doing detective work was cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that a lot of his fights were like short-lived in there, I thought that was cool because, again, he doesn't mess around. He just ends the fight and moves on with his life instead of
you
just
also
these
see him getting
extended
it
fight
handed to him.
scenes.
Yeah, you also see him, like, a few times, like, someone caught him off guard. He's not perfect. If you think about, like, from a martial arts perspective, if he's been doing this for 2 years, maybe he trained for two or three before that. If you're fighting against three, 4, 5 people, one of them is going to clip you. And we saw that. I like that. I don't need a superhero. Batman at this point, especially, shouldn't be a superhero who comes out flawless in those scenarios. So, thought that was cool. Love and Thunder. I loved the trailer. I also love that we're still not seeing a lot of the villains in the trailer, or if we did, it was so brief that I missed it.
Yeah, we haven't really seen anything from Doctor Strange or Thor.
Yeah, there's obviously rumors on.
In Thor, we don't see the villain at all. We know who is playing him. I think we know the actor and we know the name of the villain. I think, but we have not seen that villain at all.
In multiverse, there's speculation on who the villain is. There's other aspects of it. Some people saying
like the Loki villain. Like, are we immediately jumping to that, or what? Are we really just focusing on the fact that the world is broken? I kind of like the idea of both not being super villain focused. If it's more about just figuring out this stuff and us just seeing different versions of everybody, because it kind of seemed like one of the potential villains is himself.
What's the Strange, the one from What If? I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's a thing. I totally forgot about Rachel McAdams being in Doctor Strange. I was like,
it's been a minute.
I was like, is that his wife? Oh,
yeah. It's been a minute. I'll admit I liked Doctor Strange, but I haven't watched it in quite a while because there's so many Marvel movies. I go back and watch movies, but I don't watch every single Marvel movie, like, to catch up every time, because now we got like 25 of them or whatever. I'll put on there's some movies I'll put on, but Doctor Strange wasn't one in my rotation.
I've fallen asleep in Doctor Strange a lot of times. It's really not. I don't know. I've yet to, like, put in like a full actual like beginning to
Okay.
end watch through
Yeah.
of it. Saw it in theaters, fell asleep in theaters, tried to get it home, fell asleep at home. So at some point,
Man.
maybe before I watch this movie, I should just sit down and watch it. But I think it's kind of evolved past that. I don't know how necessary it really is. I did a watch through when Black Widow came out. I watched all of the Black
Okay.
Widow movies, and so I did that, which she's not
Iron
in
Man
Doctor
2
Strange,
and all
so
that. Yeah.
I skipped that. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
when WandaVision came out, I watched everything that Wanda was in, which isn't that many, but I basically just watched all the Avengers movies. Yeah. And
it's cool you get to see the
Captain,
evolution of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Captain America?
She's in Cap 3.
No, sorry. I thought. Sorry, I misheard you. Sorry.
No, Wanda. So I watched like the Wanda stuff. So, but again, not Doctor Strange. So I care more about her in this movie than I do Doctor Strange. It's nothing against Benedict Cumberbatch. It's nothing. I don't really find Doctor Strange that interesting of a character. I don't know why. He just doesn't. He's never really spoken to me. I like Wong more. I think that give and take with Wong now being like the Sorcerer Supreme is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and when we do get to see him, like what was it? Was it Infinity War or Endgame where he's making the joke about going like getting sandwiches and like is a good give and take between the two of them. Like and then in No Way Home, I can't remember what he's like. He's packed like everything's snowing or what like.
Yeah, he's just like going back and forth, like showing up in like Shang-Chi for like 5 minutes and like being what's up.
yeah, which I love it. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange, like you said, more about Wanda and the person who you can hear in the trailer who you don't see in the trailer. Again, I don't want to spoil this for people who don't do that. That is bonkers. Also, I've heard that they're having similar embargoes to this that they did on Endgame and a few other movies, where I'll have to double check, but it's leading some people to believe the way that they're doing the embargo in the movie is that something's going to show up and be in the movie or be referenced in the movie that leads to other big stuff. So I think that's pretty cool about it. And speaking of movies, I got this pop that I've been waiting to get. Viewers of the show may know I've been so I had this Leatherface. I had a Leatherface like this, but he had a little hammer, and the wife stole it. So I got my own, and he's got a chainsaw. And I like the hammer one better. It's cute, but he's just so happy. And he's so I just love him. He's adorable. He's
such a murdering happiness, happy face. Like,
yeah, well, he's his character in the first movie, at least, like he literally is like, I don't know how do I say this in a way that doesn't sound bad. He's definitely not all there, and the masks are like almost like a role that he plays in the family. And when the people keep coming in, like he can't process these strangers that are coming into his house invading his property, so he's basically like defending his property, and he's like freaking out and like rocking back and forth, like why will these kids like just stop showing up? Where are they coming from? He's like looking out the windows. It's not the menacing like scary. It's like as soon as he kills someone, he's like, oh, what am I gonna do? And then like the other people come in there and they're like bossing him around, and he's like, no. And he's like 6'6", and the like little tiny guys like hitting him with a rod. It's an interesting character, which is one of the reasons I like him, because it's not just like in the newer movies. Obviously, Owen doesn't watch these movies. In the new movies, he's like, I'm so like he doesn't talk, but he's like big menacing guy. And in that movie, it's like no, he's doing this as part of his family, but he's not really physically intimidating. If you were like, I don't know, if you threatened him, he'd probably cower, is what I'm getting at. I think that's funny. So his little cute little face, I think, is fitting. Obviously, way off tone for what Owen usually watches. But speaking of video games,
what is it? What is it on tone? Dude, I haven't played anything. I played Zelda or Hyrule Warriors for about an hour, and I haven't played anything since. I'm still on I finished Elden Ring, and I need a break because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to follow the game up after you spend like 80 hours on like a really great game.
Yeah, well, you can do what I'm doing, which is it's still in the regular new game. Every now and then, I'm like, I'm going to boot this up and do something that I haven't done. So this was a dungeon that I hadn't
I beat that guy.
gotten around to. I did some of them, but not this one. And then this was like shortly before we started, outside of. Let me rewind this real quick. This is right outside a Giant Jar town, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you remember this Giant Jar. Well,
Yeah,
if you got there,
I teleported in front of it once.
okay, yeah. So I
There's
didn't see it before. Yeah, yeah. So I didn't see it before, but there's some summon signs, so you can summon. They're not actual actual players, but you can summon adversaries, challenge them, and if you beat them, you get an item. So I had no idea. So I'm still kind of discovering things. Even though I've platinumed the game, I'm still discovering things that I hadn't discovered before. But this is me mopping them up relatively easily with my Rivers of Blood. But yeah, I've kind of had a little bit of a slump because every time I finish a Souls game, so I kind of have this like post Souls game depression of like, what do I do now? Like, I've accomplished this thing. Now what do I do? So other than this, play a little bit of Lego Star Wars, which has been fun. The doesn't have as much building though. Like the break stuff,
I heard
build
it's like
it up.
an over the shoulder game.
Yeah. The perspective, they've switched, and the perspective is a little bit more over the shoulder than the previous games. So let me fast forward just like it's not letting me fast forward for some reason. There you go. So that's the perspective. It's more over. It's not as isometric as it previously was. It's more over the shoulder. It's not bad, but I don't know. It lost a little bit of the building. Like I said, the building aspect, the humor's still there. The game is still good, but it's a lot more shooting and interacting than it previously was. Like, oh, if I break this and I rebuild it, it'll be something else. And the replayability is still there, where you run into things where you're like, oh, if I play this again and I in free play, I'll be able to interact with whatever. But it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know what to play next. I was looking at some Game Pass stuff. There's a game on there called Lake that it's just like a walking sim that I might try out. I bought Force Unleashed on Switch, and I might play that just to relive a pretty classic Star Wars game. Speaking of Star Wars, always something to hold us over until we eventually somehow get one of these 2 Star Wars games that we're now hearing about, because we have the Star Wars narrative game that who knows when that's going to come out, and then I sent you the news that Amy Hennig is helming yet another Star Wars game. The last one did not appear. She stopped working with EA pretty fast after that one happened, and then now she is working with somebody else. I forget who it is.
So it's Skydance New Media.
Skydance, yeah.
So Skydance New Media. The only game that they've done things other than video games, but in regards to video games, it's The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners is the only game that I found that they've done. I haven't dug in. It looks like she's got a pretty big connection to them, so I don't know if I'll admit I didn't look to see like. Okay, well there you go.
New media division.
There you go. So, so new media division, because the previous work that they'd been doing, there's a list of other productions that they've done. They've worked in television series. I'm assuming in regards to, I believe this is like special effects and stuff like 10 Days in the Valley, Altered Carbon. So they've have some work that they've done outside of video games. And this is, bringing Amy in Amy's an amazing director, great resume, and seeing her in there when she was tied into the Star Wars EA project and left, I was kind of sad about it. I think I was messaging you. I was like, she was going to do something Star Wars, and I forgot it was EA, um, because of her work in Uncharted and other games and kind of understanding the storytelling. Um, I was disappointed, but so I'm glad that she's going to be working with them. We don't have any like real news about what it's going to be, but you know, it's Star Wars, and I trust her. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this
I
is
mean, they
Hillary
did
and Tim
enough to
Schafer,
make
by
her
the
the
way.
they did enough to make her the president. So
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
that's
that
trust.
even the president can move on if she really wants to. But hopefully, it's been quite some time since like her Uncharted days. So
That's true.
I'm interested. Obviously, I've the only Star Wars game that I haven't played. Well, I haven't played the VR one because I need a VR to do that. So I haven't played the Darth Vader Immortal VR, and then I have not played the most recent flying one.
Oh yeah, Rogue
Uh,
Squadron.
I own it. I
Yeah.
just literally never played it.
I mean, for a flying game, if you like those types of games, it's good. I remembered that I'm not good at those games when I started playing it. I remembered
Yeah.
how I overcompensate, like in overcompensate and kind of am kind of twitching a little bit more where it needs a little bit more finesse in the flying. Um, it's still fun, but yeah, it's not as I prefer. It's kind of like Forza, like you know, you need a little bit more finesse as opposed to like a kart racer. I prefer
Yeah.
kart racer. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I'm excited to get different Star Wars. I'm kind of wondering, are they going to do something in relation similar to what is going on with the other one, where they're going to go with the High Republic, or are they going to do? I don't know. Obviously, they didn't give us much other than like, hey, we're doing Star Wars, and that's enough for us nerds to latch onto and talk about for 5 minutes.
Yeah. It 100%. I mean, we could. Yeah. That, by the way, that Star Wars Lego stuff. Like, I'm loving the little jokes. There's one like they joke about things like Chewie not getting a medal. Like they make a little joke about that. Like I love that. Like because I can say that and everybody knows what I'm talking about if you're a Star Wars nerd. There's little stuff that they joke about. There's big stuff that they joke about. But like Eclipse, I'm looking forward to. I don't think we're going to see it for a couple years.
At least
There, yeah, at least. So this is going to be that's the more narrative driven one. So we'll see what we get when it comes to when it comes to Skydance and Amy Hennig. Hopefully it's not some rush job. I don't think that you're going to have some microtransaction stuff or anything like that in there. So I trust that a little bit. And speaking of microtransactions and free to play stuff, Sony allegedly, apparently looking at putting ads into free games. Microsoft has been talking about this as well. Yeah. So, quick take on that. I don't like it, obviously, but if you're doing it, if you're putting the ad in a game that's a free to play game, yeah, then that's kind of part of the. If it's free, then you are the commodity, if you will. Like that's. Unless there's microtransactions in that bit, but as long as you give me the options,
is going to have microtransactions.
Yeah, well,
in it.
Yeah,
so my question then becomes, on games like these, I'm also in agreement. It's a free to play game, so they, ads are guaranteed money for them. That means it's less pressure on them to be successful right out of the gate, which probably leaves free to play games more time to develop, like kind of get better. Like Fortnite famously was a failing game. Its first year with its Save the World was not fun. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was like it wasn't terrible by any means, but it was a tower defense game.
Yeah.
And PUBG comes out and they're like, well, we have this engine, let's shift gears. Yep. They got lucky in that it worked.
Yeah.
But they could have easily just crashed and burned, which they would have probably soon if like Epic and them didn't immediately be like, nope, let's just flip that. So it doesn't bother me in that sense, but I'm like, can I buy a season pass that says no ads? Like, so if I buy your game season pass, does that get me out of ads? Because that's similar to whenever people are talking about like Hulu and stuff, which I pay for the commercial version of Hulu because they don't bother me that much, other than their extreme repetitive nature. Hulu, for the love of God, can you just recognize that I am binging a show and not show me the same ad every episode? That kind of thing does drive me nuts a little bit, but it's also only like what, $5 or $6 a month for Hulu, and so that doesn't bother me that much. But can I pay you $20 for the season pass and then get no ads? If it's a game that I really like, I probably do that.
Yeah, especially if the ads are stopping you, if the ads are like in your face, then yeah. If it's something, which people talked about this for quite a while, and it's obviously in sports games already, but like if we're talking about a billboard, like while I'm playing the ad, and if I happen to look up and to the left, I see a billboard, I don't really care about that in a game where it doesn't break the immersion, right? If I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and I see the billboard sign as I'm driving through like Grand Theft Auto and it's an ad, it kind of makes sense, but same thing like you're saying, I will pay you so that way that ad doesn't show me, give me if you're going to show me something like that, make it to be something funny in the Grand Theft Auto universe. Don't make it something, some, what is it? The Baja Blast at Taco Bell kind of like, I don't need that. Like,
I mean, because with like Halo, we're going to see, a Doritos ad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to have Mountain Dew and Doritos in Halo constantly. By the way, I've not watched the Halo series. I think I'm going to watch the first episode and just to watch it. I've heard mediocre things, but I feel like I should, as a gamer, I'm like, I need to at least watch it to give it a shot. But it's no Moon Knight. I'll say that. You watching Moon Knight, by the way? No,
I intend to at some point, but I've heard mixed on it, and so there wasn't anything exciting. Better Call Saul came back for the final season though on Monday. I don't know if you're Breaking Bad.
I love Breaking Bad. I need to watch Breaking. I need to watch
the first 5 seasons are on Netflix, dude.
Yeah,
I highly suggest it.
I love Odenkirk, so I need to watch it. Yeah, I need to watch.
The first 5 are on Netflix, which means the 6th probably will be also. But that just came back on Monday. Been watching Severance. That season finale just happened. Watched the Batman, obviously.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Is Severance the one about like the rich? I don't even know what's the setup of Severance. I don't know
Severance is it's got the dude who played Ben from Parks and Rec is the main actor, and basically you can have a surgery done on your brain where when you go to work you become like your work self, and then when you leave work you don't remember your work self and you have your outside self, so they call them the outies and innies. And so, and your outside self doesn't remember work, and your work self doesn't remember outside.
Okay, that's an interesting concept.
It's good. I think it's only like 6 or 7. I can't see, like, for how cheap Apple TV Plus is. I think it's $4.99. There's some good shows on there. Ted Lasso, Mythic Quest. Now Severance. There's a couple of decent movies. Tom Hanks's Finch movie is pretty good. Pretty decent stuff. And then I've been watching some trash TV too. So gotta always have at least one trash show for the weekends when you had a glass of wine and you're just wanted to turn your brain off. So we're watching the follow. It's not like a follow up show to Love Is Blind, but it's got. Yeah. It's got Nick Lachey and his wife hosting that show as well. What is the name of that show?
So we did watch Love Is Blind, by the way. It's not that's not the one where it's like one person wants to get married and the other person doesn't, is it? I think that's
the Ultimatum.
Oh, it is? Okay.
And that
Ultimatum,
is
okay.
some top tier trash TV.
All right, may have to watch that.
The first, like the third episode, it was even advertised to us because we weren't really feeling it. The first 2 episodes, it was kind of just meh, and then the third episode just like, and that one in itself was just like a really ridiculous episode to watch.
Okay.
Again,
well, we've been watching.
You gotta have it.
We were watching trash TV. We were watching Hulu, like, because you're talking about Hulu. We bumped it up because Whitney was wanting to watch 90 Day Fiance. And if you want to watch any of the new, and there's like 5 of them, but if you want to watch any of the new seasons, you have to bump it up to Hulu Live. So Hulu Live with ads. Yeah. That so like sucks. If you want to, like, yeah, so you have to bump it up to, I bumped it up thinking that I'd be away from commercials. I bumped it up to Hulu Live no ads, which is way too expensive. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to treat the wife. She's really enjoying this. We hate seeing commercials. Hulu Live with no ads means that Hulu will not put ads in the show, but the channel, whatever, so TLC, was it TLC that does 90 Day? One of those. Like, they put ads in it. So Hulu's like, cool, you do this, you don't have to worry about ads. However, TLC will put the ads in there even though you're paying for no ads, which I think is terrible. They shouldn't allow it. So yeah, paying an obscene amount, I was still getting ads. During commercial breaks, you get like 2 or 3 of them. But we watched all those, and Whitney watched. I watched most of them. We switched to Golden Girls, and not trash
content.
Great wholesome
content.
Yeah, and late 80s, early 90s tackling things that were way ahead of their time. Obviously there's some jokes in there that like would not fly nowadays, and you may be like, okay, Sophia's supposed to be like 80, so when she there's an episode where she dresses up in a very stereotypical, let's say, like Gone with the Wind, like Manny kind of outfit, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. like the Help, and the accent that she's doing, and you're thinking, this is bad. So obviously, yes, it's bad, and the joke was it wasn't as on the nose as it would be nowadays, but Whitney and I were like, yeah, that wouldn't fly now. The whole thing wouldn't fly without someone being like, Mom, you're, that's not, she would have to be corrected for it to fly in TV nowadays.
Yeah.
But still a great show. And I didn't.
Whenever it comes to like 80s and 90s television, or not just 80s and 90s, the past 50, 60 years of television, it is just, you see the evolution sometimes of like, okay, what was acceptable in this decade?
Characters.
What was acceptable in this decade?
Yeah.
Well, and we get to the point now of where we got people trying to cancel Disney for stupid stuff, so which I'm not really going to go into. I just happened to see a article posted about it today where I was like, okay, guys, like,
there's some
good luck.
Yeah.
Not giving them your money.
Inclusion's important. I stand by inclusion's important, but make it organic, make it real. And because if it is, then like it'll just be there. It'll just be a thing. It's not something that's like that feels like you're forcing it. Just have inclusion. I didn't know, by the way, back to the Golden Girls thing. I didn't know there was a spinoff.
No, there is.
There was a spinoff.
I couldn't.
So B. Arthur
didn't.
Of
episodes I've seen of that on like one hand. By the way,
of what, Golden Girls?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know there was a spinoff.
I need to go back and watch, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, B. Arthur apparently, like, they did their 7th season, and B. Arthur's like, I'm done. I don't want to keep doing the show. I'm done with this. And they wanted to continue, so they created Golden Palace spinoff show with Don Cheadle and Cheech Marin. But Don Cheadle in the early 90s, I think that was pretty. It was funny to see him in there. It's not good. I'll say that.
Well, then what's that other show that 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 she, not B. Arthur obviously, but that Betty did. She did like a very similar type of show where everybody was younger than her, and she was like somebody's mom.
I don't remember.
Uh,
It's not ringing a bell. Obviously, she's
done
been
a
a
ton
lot
of stuff, but
yeah. I was gonna say I'll bring up her IMDb, but it's gonna be a ton of stuff. Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
and again, I haven't seen much of that either, but I saw her outtakes from it, and just hilarious.
Yeah,
that is a hilarious. Like, that lady was hilarious for a very long time.
Yeah, like there are clips of her in like the 50s when she literally because obviously the joke was like she's older than sliced bread, because she literally was older than like produced sliced bread that you could buy in the store. But like, she did TV when TV was live. She did TV when it was like the camera was on, it was live, and like you just do your lines. Funny, and it's amazing stuff. Almost made it to 100, but yeah.
Was it hot in Cleveland? I think it might have been, but no, I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, just a bunch of shows that I missed. But like, there was one where she messes up a joke and she slaps herself in the face for messing, like straight up slaps herself in the face for messing up the joke, and you just see the cast members like.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will say, yeah, and I think people think of her role in Golden Girls, so they think of that like wholesome, like person, because of her role in Golden Girls, because her character in Golden Girls is like naive and wholesome and like big goody two shoes, but also like also very like dumb, kind of dumb, definitely naive. Back onto video games though. You think?
We'll talk about it sometime.
We talk about a little bit of this.
It's a slow period right now.
It is. But we had a new World of Warcraft trailer that dropped during a live stream. Which still,
speaking of things that are old,
there you go. I was trying to segue it, but I was thinking about like, speaking of inappropriate or like speaking of harassment. Yeah, so World of Warcraft, I loved World of Warcraft. I played a ton of World of Warcraft from launch through like past Lich King. The wife and I played World of Warcraft during Lich King, and Mist of Pandaria is when I exited for the most part. And I've like tried it a couple times, and it's I don't have the time. That's one bit. I don't have the time, and also it hasn't hooked me to be like, oh, I'm going to go back and play it, because I don't. Yeah, it's so old that it's hard to go back and play it if you've been playing modern games for a while. I would go back and play Star Wars Galaxies. I would do that, but this isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I have been out since near the beginning, so I came back for a little bit during like Lich King, but I played the very first one before Burning Crusade. Played a little bit of Burning, and then I quit.
Yeah,
similar. Like, if I was going to play something right now, I'd be playing Final Fantasy 14.
Sure.
And it would be a thing where it's like, that would totally be a thing of, if I didn't want to play any other game, if I was like, if I decided I'm going to stop spending money on games, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do Game Pass, and then I'll probably do Final Fantasy 14. Like, if that was the pivot that I would do, where it's like I could spend 60 to 100, I'd probably buy one or two new games a month right now, just on average. There are months where I buy like 5, and there are months where I don't buy any. But like, I bought Elden Ring and Horizon in the same week, and so there are times that money got spent. So if I was going to totally just go back and say, nope, we're penny pinching a little bit more, I'm going to do Final Fantasy 14 for $12 a month, and I'm going to do Game Pass for $10 a month, and that's going to be my gaming. I don't have time to go back to WoW. When did WoW? Is it 2002?
I want to say 2002, 2003.
Am I getting that right? World of War 2004. Okay.
2004. So, okay.
Oh, 2 years. It was about to be 20 years old, and it looks like it, bro.
It does. There have been there have been multiple graphical upgrades / enhancements, but it's still, yeah, it still looks old. And I think that, you know, Blizzard's had this dilemma for quite a while. It's, well, if we come out with, you know, the next World of Warcraft, right? If you scrap this, you come out with the next World of Warcraft, what it will either make or break their current player base. Like, are you going to have people actually move over into the new World of Warcraft? And that was the idea, was, well, we'll just keep adding to it and doing graphical enhancements. Well, this is beyond Skyrim. When people keep talking about, like, oh, it's re-release, World of Warcraft has been here since 2004, 18 years. 18 years. I feel old, man. Yeah. I feel old. 18 years, the game is still going on. They keep adding to the game. EverQuest didn't go that long, right?
No, and they came out with like EverQuest 2.
Yeah. See, like, and I think World of Warcraft, I think Activision Blizzard was like, if we come out with World of Warcraft 2, it's going to split our player base, and or if it's not as good, if it's new Coke, you know, we come out with the new thing and it's not as good. Well, are you going to scrap your old game, go with the new game that's not as good? Like, so I get their dilemma, but I think it's beyond time. They added a new race into this. Dragonflight's obviously the name, but they added a new race, and I don't know. It's going to be the same stuff. They add a race, they add a profession. They don't let you do flying mounts for a while. It's always the same thing, because if you put flying mounts in the new area, then everyone's just going to fly through everything and not actually explore. So rinse, repeat. I mean, I like the mythology kind of aspect here, but I can go. If I'm going to play an old game with that kind of mythology, I'll go back and play OG God of War, because that game still holds up, and the remasters are pretty good.
The remasters are on PS4 even, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I have a buddy who's played, literally, still plays it to this day. Doesn't do a ton anymore as much as he used to, but like I know he, as far as I recall, he can somehow play the game for free. I don't know if that's a thing where you, like, there was something where you can like turn gold into time on the game, and
Okay.
he does like enough in the game to where he doesn't pay for his sub, and like does some like minor raiding and stuff. He's, you know, and his thing is he plays like every Blizzard game. Like, he's played a lot of Hearthstone, he's played a lot of WoW, a lot of Warcraft 3, maybe just like things related to Warcraft. That could be it also, because I don't remember him playing a lot of Diablo. But
Diablo, yeah.
I asked his opinion on it, and I haven't heard back from him yet to see, like, is there still that excitement there? I'm sure for some people, like anybody who like likes the lore, they have a deep lore system. Like, there's a lot of story in there, and if you're into that, I can see you wanting more. And again, we have like FF14 still coming out with expansions. We found out like a week or two ago that Star Trek, its MMO, is still coming out with story content. So I mean, if you have a dedicated fan base,
yeah, I'm tempted to play the Star Trek one because I love Star Trek, and I'm just like, okay, is it going to be good enough for me to like it? Or is it one of those games that people are latching onto because it's Star Trek? And I could say the same thing about like Star Wars games. Yeah, that's true. Because I could say the same thing about Star Wars games. There were some Star Wars games back in the day that weren't so great. There was like the PlayStation, like Jedi Knight Battle, whatever, that wasn't very good. Masters of Terras Kasi, like, I still don't think it's that great of a game, but it was Star Wars, so we played it. So maybe that's what's going on with the Star Trek game. I'll probably check it out though, because I want some good Star Trek. We'll probably have to wait for I wanted to say Horizons, but it's not the Star Trek one by the Telltale.
I'm just gonna call it Telltale Star Trek. until it comes out, and then we can get like the actual thing that's supposed to come out sometime this year. I intend to, as I play every Telltale and Telltale related game, I do intend to play that. Although I might skip Wolf Among Us too. It depends. I didn't really enjoy Wolf Among Us 1 that much. I know it's a lot of people's favorite Telltale game, but
really, I didn't get into it. I played a little bit, but I didn't. I didn't get into it the way that I got into the other ones. I didn't get into that, and I only played a little bit of the Walking Dead one.
Oh, I've played and finished. The only one I did not play and finish from like the modern era of Telltale was Back to the Future. I did not play that one at all because I just think it's like really bad. But I've played pretty much everything.
Worse than Game of Thrones?
That's what I don't know. Game of Thrones sucked. That's my least favorite one, just because of how little they tried on the background art and stuff. The story actually wasn't that bad, but comparing it to ones like The Walking Dead, again, a lot of people like Wolf Among Us, but Borderlands, Batman, Guardians of the Galaxy is decent.
That was good.
There are some good ones. I've played all of them, so I will inevitably play Star Trek. It's just a matter of, do I want Wolf Among Us 2? But if people are like, oh, it's great, then
you probably check it out.
I'm a sucker, so
I'm a sucker for The Rock, and The Rock producing an It Takes Two movie. Man, I was gonna put some Rock movies in here, but WWE always he was and is the great one. So this was one of my favorite recent games. This was your game of the year for was it 2020
last year?
Yeah. Last year, sorry. Yeah, and won game of the year at the Game Awards. Wonderful game. Great game for co-op. And It Takes Two movie, I would not have expected it, but I could totally the tightness of this game, and if they took out a lot of the filler levels, of course it'd be great. The levels though, while I'm saying they're filler, this game goes through like every genre that I can think of aspects of like, oh, let's do something with puzzles, let's do something with this, let's do something with that. It was a freaking playground. So Rock's producing. I'm wondering, but I didn't see anything. I apologize. I only skimmed the article. Like, I don't know how he knew about this, or if it was, or how he got tapped to it. But either way, I think great property. I think great
that
guy.
$7 is becoming a studio that is willing to produce a lot of things. Let me see if I can find like what they've worked on recently. Red Notice, the Black Adam movie. I didn't realize that DC was letting them produce that.
I didn't realize that either.
That must have been a deal that he made.
I'm sure.
With, let's see, Jungle Cruise, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, Shazam. Wow, Shazam, good for him. So they're getting some stuff on there. Like, The Rock just prints money, and now it's even on. Dude, they're making a Fortnite something apparently as well, and his studio is doing that. So I'm thinking he just has some very savvy people that tap into the zeitgeist of things. I don't know how good of a movie this can be because of how much the game is just surrounding like this co-op thing.
Take out the co-op aspect. Think like modern day Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Maybe
like that's what I envision. The wholesomeness. I don't know who's going to end up like in the movie. Hopefully not like I don't know, James Corden.
Who plays
like,
the book? Like,
yeah. I agree. Like someone had to have their finger on the pulse here, because this isn't the easy cash grab. Like, oh, what do the kids like today? I'm going to make a movie of this, because like it's not that kind of big wig like decision where, like, back in the day, the Super Mario Brothers movie was a decision of like, the kids like Mario, we'll make a Mario movie and it's going to be bad. I feel like this is a more of a decision of like, someone has at least some vision as to what this could be. I think it could be, like I said, I envision it to be like a modern day Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, wholesome family movie. They could be fun.
I mean, you make that joke about Super Mario Brothers, and they went and casted Chris Pratt to do Super Mario Brothers 2, who's not going to be doing an Italian accent. So,
yeah, not okay. So I'm gonna see that movie because it's Mario. And what is that?
Streaming platform.
Jack Black as Bowser, yeah. Right?
I'm sure it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
it's very star-packed.
Yeah. And Anya Taylor-Joy. So I'll watch it, even though, yeah, great choice for Peach though. For her, and by the way, she's in
Charlie
Northman.
Day is Luigi.
Yep.
Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Key is Toad.
He's Dry Bones, right?
No, he's Toad.
No, Toad. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think
Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong. Like, it's gonna be a weird movie.
I'd love that. Oh, by the way, speaking of Fred Armisen, there's a new movie on Netflix. May or may not be people's thing, but it's called The Bubble, and it's a Judd Apatow comedy about actors who are during COVID. Yeah. During COVID, actors trying, like, getting together in a bubble because, like, it's like, okay, we can't spread COVID. Doing a sequel to a terrible movie that, schlock dinosaur movie. And it's like the 6th sequel. Much better than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, Fred plays the director.
Tomatoes roasted it.
I thought it was funny. So whatever.
I mean, it's on Netflix. Just don't share your passwords,
Yeah, just don't share your password. Yeah, I love people making fun of that right now about, like,
it's so dumb.
Yeah, well, other people are joking about, like, about, like, oh, well, what do I have to buy a new another plan for, like, my kid? It's like, no, they're trying to get it so that way, you don't have 5 or 6 people paying, milk in the same account. I get it to an extent. But Netflix doesn't. Actually, Netflix has a limit to how many people can be watching at the same time, right? Pretty sure they do.
Yeah, you have to pay by tiers, and so depending on what tier you're paying for, I pay for the. Yeah. I stopped paying for the 4K tier. I pay for, like, the 1080 tier, and it's.
I'm gonna switch to that. Yeah.
It's just what the fact that I get like Disney Plus HDR for $8 a month is dumb. So
yeah.
I've gotten very close to canceling Netflix several times, and every time I talk about it with the wife, she's like, well, I like watching this sometimes. So it's like, well, we can always resub, and she's like, and that's what it always comes down to, is that, and that's what they want, that's what they count on, that's what everybody counts on, is that
I want it to be there. I don't want to go through I don't want to go through the click renewal, and I know it'll be an extra 5 minutes. No, Whitney's the same way. Like, I am going to downgrade our Hulu because we're not using that level of Hulu anymore. But we were for a while. Downgrade that and downgrade Netflix because there's other stuff that we're watching enough streaming platforms. We don't need all that. And I've got Google Calendar reminders. I think, is that what you do with yours too? Like, so that way it you to think about, like, okay, should I cancel this, or do you just just actively remember?
No, I haven't canceled anything. It's the thing that, again, always talk about canceling.
Yeah. Well,
I am intending to. I have like a year or so left of Xbox Ultimate. I am probably going to cancel that around when it comes through. I've just realized how little I'm touching my Xbox unless something big comes out, and that's $15 a month. I just happen to have a year paid up in full, and my ecosystem is PlayStation, so it's going to be one of those things where, like, I'll go in, like, I'll play a Starfield or something like that when it comes out, and then I'll probably unclick it, but it's even. I just every time I go through the app, it's like, wow, there is a lot of stuff on here, but I already own all this other stuff over here.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, it's like that's your ecosystem's been in PlayStation, and you can cancel the Game Pass, or so you can cancel the Ultimate at least. You can go back to like regular Game Pass console just to get the new stuff if you want. But yeah,
there's just too many cheap offerings now too. Like I understand everybody's gonna up theirs, but like Disney's is cheap. HBO feels worth it for how quick their movies come to HBO. Like I've watched every DC movie. They actually have some decent shows on there. Paramount Plus is cheap, and I've been watching Star Trek and Picard. I dropped Halo very immediately, not feeling Halo at all. Some people are liking it, some people don't like it. I'm on the not like it camp, but Paramount Plus, there's just too much, and Netflix is just that one where it's like I looked at it, I've had Netflix since before I graduated college, so we're talking like 2008, I think, like back when it was DVDs is how long I've had that account, which is like really crazy to think about.
Yeah. Oh no, same. I've had Netflix forever, and actually speaking of that, like I'm pretty sure it's around that time. I've had Netflix forever, and I've found Netflix used to be like I'll open this app and I'll find something to watch. But lately it's been I'll open the app, I don't see anything that I want to watch, and I end up watching something else. I would going to another streaming platform. And the shows I have my own Plex server, so if I get I get some DVDs, I can rip them so I can have my digital copies or whatever, however you want to think about that aspect. Like if I want a show like Deep Space Nine, like I can just buy Deep Space Nine, which I'm considering. I just wish that they had that in HD, but I can't bring myself to pay like $80 for DVDs. But like I bought all of The Office, so I have The Office on DVD, and then I ripped them. I have them on my Plex server. So the streaming services, when they take something, when they're like, oh well, this is on this is on that, I don't want to have to subscribe to everything. I'm not going to subscribe to everything. So if there's a property that if I can buy it, I will buy it. I will, find a way to own it myself. But
yeah, and there's that aspect too of like, I mean, we were talking about that. I was talking about with some friends of like just where I'll buy. I'm in a thing about buying physical games again. I was on the digital train. I'm back in the thing of buying physical games because people close like storefronts down, but like these streaming services have ruined me wanting to really buy. I don't buy movies at all anymore, really. I own the Star Wars movies. I buy every Star Wars movie because that's Star Wars and that's like a thing. But after that, I buy TV shows when they've completed their run and I want to own that TV show. So I own Parks and Rec, I own Friends, I own The Office, I own How I Met Your Mother. I don't own them on DVD, I own them digitally. Because you get good sales on them. But streaming services in terms of that have totally ruined it. And I bet if I was to get into the Xbox ecosystem, it would probably ruin me on buying games at all. There's enough games on that service to where I could do that if I was able to make that shift. And probably the same thing with PlayStation coming up too. If they make it to where those games are coming in a reasonable enough amount of time, if their first party offerings, let's just say it's 6 months. Yeah. Like, can I wait 6 months to play those games? I probably could wait on most of them because they have 500 games that are available. And I bet they're going to make third party deals. I bet there's going to be deals that occur to satiate that demand of day one release where they're like, we're not willing to give you our stuff day one because ours is the premium. You're going to pay for that or you're going to wait a long time, but maybe we'll get you Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
And that may change your buying habits, like you said, to maybe you buy a handful of games every year, but the majority of those games, if you're getting them streaming, if you can wait a little bit And so, for example, like Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That game came out. You wanted to play it. If you knew, I just got to wait 6 months and it'll be on Netflix or whatever you like, that kind of idea. It's like, oh, I'll just wait for it to come to streaming. Same
And I bought
mentality.
Guardians and still haven't
You
played
did.
it, and I could have played it on Game Pass.
Yep.
It had a steelbook.
Same thing. Same thing. I'm still hopeful on PlayStation. I love my Xbox. I did boot it up and I did look at at Game Pass, but I have PlayStation Now right now, so it's not really comparable or anything. But I didn't see anything on Game Pass that was like, yeah, I'm fingers crossed it will be for Sony, because I'm loving it.
I mean, that middle tier, I want to see the library for that middle tier, dude. So
yeah,
I don't think I care enough about the PSP offerings and stuff. It would be a thing where it's like, oh, is Crisis Core on there? Like,
yeah,
I could play that in the big screen once.
Yeah.
And, but after that, I don't. There's other ways to get PSP games, and if you're not going to sell them to me, then I'm not as interested. But PS4 and PS5 games, if 400 to 500 PS4 and PS5 games.
Yeah, and I will say,
what's in that library? I really need to know, because I'm willing to pay for that tier, and probably not like only buy big games. Like maybe it becomes a thing where it's like those first party releases.
I'm good. Yeah,
it's really interesting what the streaming thing wants you to do.
Yeah,
of they're willing to sacrifice $60 to $70 up front if you're willing to pay them $120 every year for,
because more people will do that tiny bit a year. Yeah, that's the attach rate and the velocity of money. You're more likely to spend $5, $6, $10 a month, as opposed to, do I want to buy the game for $60? It's an easier thing. I will say, and part of this is because I do watch on a decent TV, but I can tell the difference between streaming and Blu-ray quality. I can really tell the difference between 4K streaming and 4K Blu-ray, and not everybody is as critical as I am when it comes to that. But movies like Dune, I watched streaming on Warner, and then I have the Blu-ray, the 4K Blu-ray. I can tell the difference, and it looks better and sounds better because it's not as compressed. Most people aren't going to nitpick like I am.
It's just a matter of caring. I can tell the difference.
Yeah,
in it. It's just I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
not buying everything. I mean, like, I'm gonna buy Batman because I think that movie looked great, and I love that movie. I bought Dune. I'm not buying everything on 4K. I'm not that kind of person, but like, I am buying the movies that I really enjoy, that I think are worth it to see it that way. Definitely. I love it. HDR is great too, but I digress. Will I buy this movie? I don't know.
Well, It Takes Two is going to be on Amazon, so you're not even going to have to buy it.
Well,
that's the.
Don't have to then, yeah. I didn't think about that. I'm still thinking
It Takes Two is going to be on Amazon, and again, that's a sign of the times. It's like they're not even bothering to try and sell it to you.
Yeah,
they just want you to sub to their platform. And we had a streaming service movie win Best Picture in Coda on Apple TV Plus. And
that's on my list. I've heard it's good.
It's good. Yeah. It's good. I don't know if it was like great in terms of Academy, but then again, didn't they have that Don't Look Up movie nominated for Best Picture also? And I couldn't believe that. That movie sucks.
I thought that movie was funny, but it's like very niche, targeted towards towards a specific political, I know it was targeted towards me and some others that are like I get it.
What's the other movie that got nominated? The Benedict movie on Netflix. That movie also was awful.
I don't remember.
I don't know how people appreciated that movie. The something of the dog. My wife made me watch it because I say make me, but like it's just like anything. Anytime she asks me
Yeah.
to, but
Yeah.
the
Power of the Dog.
yeah, every time that she hears something on NPR that interests her, that's what got her interested in Elden Ring.
Okay.
That's what ended up making me play Elden Ring. Is she heard like a story on NPR, and
What
she's
did-
like, "This
What
looks."
did she actually sit with you and play see more Elden Ring like after the
She
first?
she watched several
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
Not 80 because I was playing it all the time, but anytime
Yeah.
I was playing it, she would come in there and sit and watch me walk around. The Power of the Dog. It was
Yeah.
awful, dude. It was so boring. I've never been, not never, but I was seriously bored, and that movie got nominated for Best Picture. So do I know. So when you compare it to something like Coda, where Coda is meant to be like a feel good movie, like a family, it's rated R. It's not all family, but it's kind of family movie. Sure. Adult family movie. It was strange that it won, but that's where we're going. We have these movies that get announced that are just going to be straight to streaming, and you don't.
I'm surprised. Like I thought King Richard had a decent chance. Honestly,
yeah. King Richard was good. That was HBO.
Yeah. And Dune, I am very biased when it comes to Dune, but that movie was very well done, like from every aspect, and it won I think like 5 Oscars. Not enough. Like that movie was so good, and we're gonna get at least 2 more. There are 7 in the original like run if you don't count like all the other books, and this is the first half of the first book, so means we'll finish this book and get on to the next book. I think I would like to see at least going through like the first 3 sequels, but we'll see what we get. Anyways, that's it for the show this week. Hope you enjoyed us talking about some movies all over the place, and that's how we do it. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know if you're looking forward to It Takes Two. Are you going to watch it just because The Rock is attached to it, or does he have to be in it? Are you looking forward to Black Adam? What comic book movie are you looking forward to? Let us know, and we'll see you next time.